sharing my screen. And if you guys could just let me know when you see that, that'd be great.
Yes.
I see it.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thanks everyone for joining. As Elizabeth said, my name is Ellie Velosin. I'm a senior civil engineer in the traffic engineering department. I'm also joined today on this meeting by several other members of the traffic engineering department. So between us, we should be able to answer any questions anyone has. So just for a brief background on this project, Southern Avenue runs east-west. It's a major arterial through the city of Tempe. We have two intersections that are relatively close together on Southern, between 48th Street and between 48th Street and Priest. So Fair Lane is an unsignalized intersection. Between 2019 and 2023, there were 3 serious injury crashes at this intersection, all with a vehicle turning left. 2 of them were turning southbound to go eastbound on Southern, and 1 of them was turning from eastbound Southern to go northbound on Fair Lane. We've also had several requests from the residents in the area to make some improvements at Potter Drive. I'm sorry? To make some improvements at Potter Drive. That's a signalized intersection, and we've been requested to look at the visibility for left turners coming in and out of Potter. So here's an overall project area image. We're going to get into and zoom in on this so you'll see more clearly here. But right now this project is in 15% design phase, so it's still early on. This is a pretty small scale project. We're not planning any major reconstructions. And at this point, the expected construction will begin sometime after spring training in 2025. So zooming in on Fair Lane, you can see on the left side, we have an image of what it looks like today. And on the right side is what we are proposing for this project. So the first and most impactful, most noticeable thing we're doing here is probably extending this median. We're extending it to the west to block left turns in and out of Fair Lane. So you will no longer be able to turn left either into Fair Lane or out of Fair Lane onto Southern. We're also updating the ramps at this intersection to be more ADA compliant with the most recent ADA recommendations. But the access to Canyon Drive, that's and the driveways just west of Fair Lane will remain unchanged. So no changes at those driveways and at Canyon Drive. The other part of this project is at the intersection of Potter Drive with Southern Avenue. So again, the existing, what you see today is on the left. What we're proposing is on the right. So here we're creating what's called a positive offset left turn lane for east and west, and I'll get more into that in just a moment. And also right now, the far right lane in the eastbound direction is very wide, and some folks have been kind of using it to scoot around others going through to try and turn right. So we're making that a more typical lane width to prevent those unsafe right turn movements. So for a positive offset left turn, what we mean by that is that you can see in the image, the blue car and red car in the area with no offset are kind of blocking the sight distance for each other. So it's hard for the blue car to see around the red car when it's trying to make its left turn to see if it's safe to go. And the same thing for cars coming in the through movement, they can't see that blue turn, or that blue car, I'm sorry, until they get past the red car. With a positive offset, we're scooching basically both left turners kind of more towards the outside so that they can see what's coming much easier. So we did mention that at Fair Lane, you won't be able to turn left in anymore. So there are 2 alternate routes there that you'll still be able to do. So if you came from the area of 48th Street and Southern and typically you would head east on Southern and turn left at Fair Lane, your options now are to continue north on 48th Street up to Fairmont and come back down Fair Lane, which would add an additional about 1,400 feet to your trip. If your typical movement, you can also continue on Southern in the eastbound direction so you get to Potter and turn left at the light there, which will add about 2,261 additional feet to your trip. Coming out in the afternoon, the most straightforward alternate route here is, rather than going south on Southern to turn left at, south on Fair to turn left at Southern, you would go east on Huntington and then come down Potter to turn left at the Signal. And that doesn't add any additional distance to the commute. So at this point, we would really love to hear any questions or comments from anyone in the area. Again, my name is Ellie Velosin, and I've got my email address up here if you have questions afterward. And we have lots of other folks on the call who are also able to answer questions if we need them.
Not seeing any questions in the chat, Ellie, nor is anybody raising their hand at this time. We want to be respectful of everybody's lunch break here, so if it is no questions today, we'll go ahead and wrap up this particular meeting. Again, a reminder that we are having a resident meeting this evening. All are welcome, but it will be focused on the residential, which is the Meadows and Contempo Tempe, both located on the south side of Southern. So the impacts to those communities that these improvements will make are a little bit different. It will be in person at Contempo Tempe. And again, all are welcome, and we're going to have a variety of staff there to answer questions and take comments. So any staff that are with us today that would like us to join us tonight at 5 are welcome to do so. This recording will be made available at tempe.gov/neighborhood meetings later this week or early next for anyone who missed Ellie's wonderful overview who wants to watch it after the fact. And just a reminder to all staff that we did make contact when we dropped off the door hangers. So we had a lot of conversations out in the field, and I'm glad that we handled it that way, whereas the residents got postcards. Oh, I see one. Sarah has a question. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, you may have said it, I may have missed it. What are the anticipated effects on those communities with this route change, if any?
The residential communities won't have any route changes at all.
What about the extra traffic through their neighborhoods and the impact? Will it have any additional impact on those communities, really?
No, there shouldn't be. The communities south of Southern don't have any way to cut through them, so there won't be any additional traffic there. The only streets where we're anticipating there may be some additional traffic are Huntington, north of Southern, in the industrial area, for people who need to take that route rather than their Fair Lane turn.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
And Sarah, a little bit of background, the residents have been reaching out to mayor and council to address this this intersection because it has been a problem for residents in that area. So it is a much warranted improvement for them.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. I just didn't know what she said. There was another meeting later this evening where they're going to talk to the residents about. I didn't know if there was anything additional. So thanks for clarifying. Appreciate it.
Alrighty, well, thanks everyone for joining us for this meeting, which was more focused on the businesses. And again, we'll be meeting tonight at 5, specific to the residents that are there just along Southern. Both are gated communities with guards at the front. Alrighty, thanks everybody.